wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the God. We are the Breakfast Club. We got some special guests in the building. We have Bubba, Wallace, and Steve Quirk. Welcome, fellas.
What's going on?
How you feeling?
What's happening?
Good.
Another day.
Man, Bubba, how does it feel? And I know you get this all the time, but how does it feel being the first black NASCAR driver?
Well, I wouldn't say the first in a while.
Okay. Oh, you weren't the first?
No, Wendell
Okay.
Scott was he opened the door for all of us. And so I've been the first to win since him.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How long ago was him?
I was at 60s.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So it's been a really cool journey. Lots of up and downs. You know, being in the Cup Series for 8 years now has been. I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot. I've got a couple gray hairs in my beard from I guess every year that I've been in that. I'd say every race I've been in the Cup Series, but it's humbling knowing that there's not many of us there, but you know I'm leading the way for a generation that is paying attention. You have a following and a demographic that wants to be a part of this sport. It's cool to be at the front of that.
How did you get into race car driving?
Started when I was a kid in go-karts. My dad had a go-kart. He raced a couple times. He flipped all 3 times. I have yet to flip in my career.
Okay,
So,
all right.
yeah, knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
But my dad got us started, and he invited us to come out, or he told us to come out and watch a family friend of ours, and just sitting in the stands. Became a fan that way. Bought a go-kart and went racing.
Where'd the name Bubba come from?
My sister. Yes. We don't know why. She said she didn't have a speech impediment. She just decided to call me Bubba. So she's 5 years older than me.
She's 5 years old.
Yeah.
And it's stuck ever since.
It's
Yeah,
stuck. And
obviously.
well, it was confusing at the racetrack, right? Because I'm a junior. So, hey, Daryl, my dad would turn around, and they were trying to get in touch with me. So we were just like, let's go with Bubba. It makes it easier, and it's fun. Everybody's a Bubba.
Yeah, especially down south. We say that a lot.
Yeah.
What's up, Bubba?
Yeah, what's up, Bubba?
Yeah. So you embrace the responsibility of being, you know, I guess, are you the only black NASCAR driver?
At the Cup level, yes, sir.
Yeah. So you embrace the responsibility of being that person at the forefront to inspire the next generation.
Yeah. We got some youth coming up. We got Raja Caruth coming up through in the truck series, and it's fun being a mentor to him and the others coming through. And I sense a responsibility there to carry myself the right way, but also show that I'm here to stay and make a name for myself as well. So, the only way to create boundaries is to cross them and figure out, what to do, what not to do. So I've made some mistakes along the way, but it's shaped me and helped me to become who I am today. And so, off track, on track stuff has been phenomenal. I could say this whole year has started out really, really strong for us. And nothing's better than winning. So it's been a while since I've been in victory lane, but it's not from a lack of effort.
How difficult? I'm sorry, guys.
What part of North Carolina are you from?
Charlotte.
Charlotte. Okay.
704.
So that was
704.
big. That was big growing
We're in a
up.
hub.
Like race car was okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
huge.
like I grew up 15 minutes from the racetrack.
Dope.
So all the race teams were all within a 30-minute radius of each other.
Well, I was going to ask, how difficult was it? Because coming up, there wasn't too many of us in the stands. And I'm sure there's not too many of us in the stands now, but there was way less in the stands. So how difficult was that? I'm sure you had to face racism, other drivers, other teams. And how difficult was fighting through that?
Honestly, my mom was, my parents, both my parents, but my mom was, the driving force behind of just never giving the media any negative to talk about, right? Well, I failed at that a couple times. But she was always just keeping me aware of the said scenarios, right? And for me, though, I grew up in a well-diverse community and didn't see color, still don't, and it just didn't matter to me. So when I jumped into it, there was, I think, 2 of us that were of color. And Benny Mingo, he actually works at our race shop now. So it's
Nice.
crazy how he works on our race cars. But it was just the 2 of us, and it didn't bother me one bit. Growing up, the higher you got in the rankings, the better you got, the faster the cars. I was the only one, and still didn't bother me. All I cared about was winning. And it sounds like a very just cliche, typical straight line answer, but I didn't give a damn, right? And I still don't, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings, and that's how I view each other. And we just happen to be a little bit darker than others, and that's okay. But if you treat each other with respect, then you demand that respect back. And if they can't give that back, then they're not the people for you. So that's how I've kind of viewed life and have enjoyed life, no matter what's thrown at us.
I agree with that. But you being a biracial, right? Whenever you feel When people come at you for being black, do you ever feel like, well, I'm white too?
Halfway there.
Yeah, I mean, you have to kind of balance both hats, really. I have a black side of my family, I have a white side of my family, and so
Whose food is better?
that's a good question.
And where do you go for Thanksgiving?
That's a good. I like to stay home now. I ain't got to do nothing. Damn, you put me on the spot.
I don't think it's that difficult.
You know.
I'm
what
gonna have to
side
go with
it
my
is.
sister. I'm gonna have to go with my sister, the black side of family. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, she named you Bubba. Yeah, her food is definitely good.
No, I think just trying to just walk both paths can be tiring at sometimes because I just want to walk down the middle, but it's just never that easy sometimes. So
Now, before we get to you're dealing with Steve, I want to ask, how many people come up to you and try to race you in the street when you're ever driving? Does that happen a lot?
no, because I have tint on my windows, so you can't see who's driving.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And do you
all
ever get crazy on the
privacy.
street sometimes? You just like,
No, I don't waste time though. So if we got to drive to the grocery store, I know how to get to the grocery store, but I'll plug it in GPS to see which way is the fastest way, and to see if I can get there faster.
Have you ever gotten a speeding ticket?
Well, of course.
Really?
Damn.
Actually, it's been a long time, and I can say I've been pulled over, 20 something times and only gotten like 3 tickets.
Wow.
That's
It's
because
nice.
you
It's
played
nice.
the white side. That's right. I like that.
I thought it was because they recognize you.
That's what I was going with, but she got to it first. That's what I was going with.
now you're here with Steve Quirk with Robinhood. So what's your relationship with Robinhood?
It's just starting out, so excited for the partnership that we just announced. Be a part of 2311 and sponsoring myself and Corey Heim in a couple cup races this year. So, hats off to everybody at Airspeed on the marketing side of things to bring in new sponsors to the sport. So this will be the first time that Robinhood's a part of our sport in this sort of capacity, and it's special. So it's fast paced. So I hope they can keep up.
Yeah, it's our first national sponsorship of sports. We have a couple NBA teams that we sponsor.
For people that don't know what Robinhood is and what they do,
Yeah.
break it
Let
down what
me
it is.
quickly
So-
explain. So
There you go.
Robinhood Basic, we have about 25 million customers, and Robinhood it's an investing app. And what we've been largely credited with is bringing 25 million young, very diverse, first-time investors into the marketplace. So in the U.S., we're sitting close to 60% of U.S. households now are invested in the market. That's the envy of the world. It's like 20% in Asia or Europe or other places. And what we did is just remove the friction. So if you have $5, if you have $10, you can invest. We removed all the friction, made it very easy for people to have access to the greatest wealth creation vehicle in the world. So as important as it is for you to make money, you have to put that money to work. And we've made that really accessible for young people.
Yeah, my kids have Robinhood, and it's very accessible. They
Yeah.
know how to use it. They invest in it. They're not investing a lot of money, but
Yeah.
$5, $10, it's a start for them at a young age.
But
and
it
that's what I tell
used to
them.
the whole system used to be kind of really kind of inaccessible for young people because you had to wait till you got this amount of money to be able to do it, and so really by the time you got around to investing, it was a little bit too late. The second component that we're really strongly focused on is it's one thing to give them access, but it's another thing to make sure that they do it in a way that's going to be sustainable and that they're going to have a good investing career. So we do a lot in the way of education, both within our site and the app, but also we go out to universities. We have a bunch of university programs where we help people understand the importance of doing this in a suitable manner. And then we give them access to all of this and provide them with curriculum. And then we have a newsletter that goes out every morning we have 40 million people subscribed. Basically describes the day's news, and then if there's something within that news that could be an investable opportunity for them.
What's your vetting process, Bubba, when it comes to like who you choose to take on as a sponsor? Or is it just the
You're
money?
willing to pay? Let's go.
That's right.
Let's make it happen. I mean, hey, I come from. I remember, man, we were doing about anything just to get anybody to spend $1, right? And so it's a tough sport to be a part of and want to invest into, and for new companies to come into the sport and not know which way's up, down, left, or right. I mean, I would be hesitant as well. And so, taking a risk on a kid that's trying to find his way throughout the Cup Series. But I feel like now we've established ourselves, established our name, within the race team, within the sport. It makes it easier for companies that want to be in part of our journey. And yeah, you're associated with MJ, so that helps a
now
little bit.
how is that? MJ is a co-owner, so how is he as a co-owner? Do y'all speak much? Do y'all talk much? Do y'all play one-on-one basketball? How is it?
Not the basketball piece. He taught me if I know I'm gonna go into something and lose, then don't compete at all. So he won't jump into a race car. I won't jump on the basketball court.
Gotcha.
And so MJ is super involved, and it might be a shock to a lot of people, and I think it was for me to start, because you think of somebody as big as MJ, that can be doing anything else that he wants with his time and his money. He has a strong passion for NASCAR. He's been a fan. He's watched even before he became a team owner. He was a kid going to the races, Darlington, Talladega, Charlotte. He was going to all these places with his family growing up, and so he's always had a strong knack for NASCAR and what it provides. And so now him being invested, it's game over. He's watching each and every weekend, whether he's here or overseas, whatever he's doing. I have a text before and after the race every weekend.
What does he say? I lost some money betting on you.
No, it's always encouraging. He's a glass half full guy. No matter how rough the day gets, he's always searching for the positives. And so it's helped me grow up a lot in a short amount of time.
What about you, Steve? What made y'all want to say, you know what, NASCAR is where we want to spend our money?
Well, if we look at our customers, they're very into sports, but if we just look at a Robinhood versus a non-Robinhood customer, they're 4 times more likely. They're into motorsports, particularly NASCAR. And so this gives us broad exposure, nationally as well, which I think is very positive. And they just, they're as passionate about their sports as they are about their investing. So they tie together pretty nicely.
Got you. Was it hard for you to get sponsorships, Bubba? Because, you always hear the stories about Serena Williams, even though she was dominant, in tennis for a period of time. Her and Venus, it was hard for them to get sponsorships. People just didn't feel like they were marketable. Was it the same for you?
Yeah, absolutely. We look at the sport and the personalities that you have within the side of our sport, and there's a select few, and I feel like I'm near the top of the list of just being personable and likable despite all the BS that goes on. I'm going to tell you how I feel, and I feel like a lot of us inside of our sport are very straight-edged and cookie-cutter, right? And that's okay. You don't want to show your true colors or show your cards. You keep that in your personal life. That's fine. But for me, I've always just been I try to be super relatable to everybody I meet, and make a lasting impression to eventually have the investments come in and the funding come in. And it seemed like nothing we ever did would work. And for whatever reason that is, it was what it was, but it never stopped me from pursuing what I wanted to do and fighting hard. Now I look at the people that potentially said, no, we're good, and just laugh because we're in a good spot now.
That's right.
What does the sport have to do to increase, right? Because it's, I feel like it's been in that same spot for a long time, and it hasn't really grown as I thought it would. What do you think it needs to do?
I need to win. There you go. I think that's the easiest way to go about it. I need to win. You look at, golf didn't really change too much, but Tiger was dominant, right? And created a lot of buzz. But I've only had 2 wins in my 8 years in being in Cup, so to me that's unacceptable. So the way that we've been performing this year, last 2 races finishing 3rd, 2 spots away from doing just that. So I'll take full responsibility in helping that.
Whose fault is it, though?
I was going to say that, yeah.
Is it the car?
Is it the car, the driver, the
you can
engine,
only
the
go with
wheels?
Well, as a driver, you never blame yourself, so it's always somebody else's fault. So that's just how drivers operate. But it takes a whole team to win races, and man, it's tough. The next level after Cup level is retirement. So it's the hardest thing that you'll ever do in forms of motorsports, in the form of the path that we're on. And so the guys you're going against have been doing it. Like Denny, he won the second co-owner, our other boss. He won Sunday, but he's been in the sport for 20 years. And so I'm my 8th year. So it's just experience takes over. But it takes a car, it takes a crew chief, it takes the driver, it takes pit crew, and just a lot of luck to get these things, in the right way.
This could be a stupid question. I don't know. How do you know that certain people on the team might not be sabotaging you, though? Just because they might be mad that you got the Confederate flag out of
there. We have a good process in knowing, like, basically feeding out the bullshit, right? And you have to show up and ready to work, and as simple as I think you look at who the owners are, MJ and Denny, they care about winning, and they care about doing it with integrity. And if you don't have that, then it's game over for them. So we don't have to worry about that, and I never really have.
Who's the toughest driver you ever faced, and why? And in NASCAR, is it like that? Like, as a basketball, you can say this is the toughest opponent. In hockey, this is the toughest. Baseball, this is the toughest team.
It's different. It's different in regards of the tracks that we go to. For example, Denny had won this weekend, and this is at Martinsville, which is one of his best tracks. And so when you show up to said track, it's like, who's the guy to beat? That's how you look at it. So it's always different throughout the circuit and throughout the year. So I can't pinpoint it to one. Who's the biggest asshole? Oof.
Mm-hmm.
That also changes too. Depends on the mood that we're in.
What's your favorite track?
Favorite track? Martinsville's one of them. So Bristol's coming up here in 2 weeks. That's another good one. Mostly all the short tracks, but also the ones we've won at too. So Talladega and Kansas are good.
Y'all get scrapping sometimes. Y'all fight on those tracks sometimes.
Yeah, and it's you feel like you're done wrong, because I go back to the respect thing. You show up with respect. You demand respect in return, and sometimes you feel like you're shorted or you're done wrong, and for whatever reason, when I'm done wrong and I retaliate, it's the world's end. And all I'm doing, and what I was grown up, being taught is, you just get even.
Yeah.
So I'm just getting even. Like, oh, okay, we're good. We can shake hands after the fact. We're good now, but massive deal.
Did y'all get suspended after y'all get into a fight? Because I remember you got into a fight a couple of years ago. Did you get suspended? Is there any penalties or anything?
No. The rules are constantly changing. I got suspended for right rear hooking somebody, which basically like a pit maneuver, and rightfully so, because it's happened to me twice throughout my career. And
explain what that is. I'm lost.
Like a pit maneuver, like somebody turns into you on your right rear, spins you out.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
And it's the opposing car that you've done it to is you just turn them right head on into the wall, and
almost
at
like
a high rate of
T-bone.
speed. Yeah, kind of. And so versus like hook them in the left rear, like they kind of just go spinning throughout the infield and kind of get it gathered back up. So. It's happened to me twice in my career, and it's I'd say one of the most disrespectful things you can do. And I found myself stoop down to that level and commit the same deal. But the guy had just come up to me and run me up in the wall and was like, oh, we're just going to go on about our day. No.
Oh, wow.
They said that you did it on purpose.
That's what they say. So people are going to always talk and have their opinions, and that it is what it is. But I regret doing that. I can say that truthfully, and we've moved on past that. But as far as fighting, no, because one, we're entertainment business, and so it's good for entertainment. But they're quick to jump in, so you have to be methodical about how you want to go about it.
But isn't it a matter of life and death when you out there at freaking 100 plus miles per hour? Like
it is. Our safety's come a long way. So you don't think of it in that sort of fashion. But all it takes is one wrong move. So
Do you want to raise Denny Hamlin?
do I want to?
Do you want to?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
because
fine.
he was asked about you. He asked what you need to do to beat him and win your first race in nearly 2 years, and he said you have a decision to make. If you need to make more speed on corner exit, you must sacrifice something else somewhere. You can't just put the throttle down and get more speed on exit. It's an approach thing. Maybe you need to slow up your sensor a little bit more. Do you agree with him?
Yeah. Do you know what that means?
No, not at all.
that's why you're here, Bubba.
I was impressed. I said, okay.
She was quoting Denny. That's all.
Verbatim, right there,
we-
word for a
that's
word.
it. Now you have to explain us
I
what
got
that
to
means.
explain. So
Yeah.
that's just attacking the corners. So the exit of the corner versus the center of the corner versus the entry of the corner. There's ways to approach every corner differently, and it goes back to the experience. Denny's been at these racetracks for 20 years, as to where I'm figuring it out still. So he kind of has a better feeling for what to expect on entry and center to set him up for a better exit, as to where I'm just like, I'm going to send it off in there and figure it out. So it definitely takes a lot of time and a lot of seat time, a lot of just skill and management and having the right people around you.
Quote for you, Bubba, and I want to ask Steve this too. What do you consider the most rewarding aspect of the work in the racing world, especially if you're not winning? And for you, Steve, what's the benefit other than visibility if Bubba's not winning?
Yeah, I would say the last 3 years, I've really taken it upon myself of trying different things, but putting in the work and putting in the effort. And it seemed like the last 2 years, the previous 2 years, it didn't matter what I did. It kind of ended up in the same results. And so this year, I kind of didn't flip the script. I said, we're going to, start working out better, start eating better, doing all the necessary things, paying attention to my sleep, all these types of things. And the results are starting to show up quicker.
Mm-hmm.
And so the rewarding thing is knowing that you can pour your heart and soul into something. And when it doesn't work out the way you want it, then a lot of self-doubt creeps in because you take it, for me, I take it up on my shoulders like, well, damn, I guess I'm not good enough. But then you see others that are doing half the job but getting it done. And so it's like, well, damn, what's the scenario I need to put myself in? Well, I think it comes down to just trusting the process. And I've realized that, and I've said this recently a lot, that your timeline is going to be either quicker or slower than mine, and that's okay. That's how we're built. Mm-hmm. We have to appreciate the scenario that we're in for ourselves and work on self and continuing to do that because that's at the end of the day, that's all you got.
When you get into those,
what about you, Steve? What's the benefit of what's the rewarding aspect of the work that Bubba's doing in the racing world if he's not winning for Robinhood?
I would say it starts really with think about Robinhood and the mission and what we're all aligned on, which is helping a younger, more diverse group of people have access to financial services and what that creates. Mm-hmm. And that's why we're very aligned with 2311. And of course, I can say this because I'm a little older. This is a very impressive young man here. Mm-hmm. I mean, extremely impressive. And we're completely aligned in seeing success, not only from 2311, but of course from Bubba.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask, when you get into those car wrecks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you get a call from MJ and he's not like, Bubba, another car? How much do those cars cost to replace? And do you fix those cars or you just totally get a new car?
It's circumstantial. Like if you cause the wreck and you're, and it becomes like a repeated offense, then it's like, all right, what are we doing? But a lot of the wrecks that, I've been a part of, like I can truthfully say it hasn't been my fault. Like we're just caught up in somebody else's mess. But at the end of the day, if you do find yourself in somebody else's mess constantly, then it starts to deter back to you because it's like, quit putting yourself in that scenario. Mm-hmm. Well, it's easy to blame like, well, again, it wasn't my fault. It doesn't matter. Like run better, run closer up front or try a different tactic. Better center for a better exit.
The corners,
right? So it's it all comes back to self at the end of the day and how you can do what you can do to be better, to not put yourself in said scenarios. But yeah, it can get annoying sometimes, but at least not for me because I'm not paying the bill.
How much are those cars to replace? Ballpark.
I don't know what we're up to. 500, 600?
$500,000 per car. Mm-hmm. And how many cars do you have in the storage just in case?
We're only allowed, I think, like 7 to 8 on rotation now. So.
How many have you wrecked?
This year, I think like 2.
This year?
Counter question.
That's for 22 years.
Yeah, that's a necessary expense, I would think, right?
It's a lot. I mean, that's why you want to have good partners to foot the bill. So thanks, Robinhood.
Yeah.
Thanks, Robinhood.
I wanted to ask, you played a big role in getting the Confederate flag banned from NASCAR events. How did other drivers who didn't want it banned treat you after it was banned?
I necessarily can't say that they didn't want it banned, so I didn't really know their viewpoint on it. But I think we all came together and as one, as in unison, and I think that's all you could ask for in sports. But for the ones that necessarily didn't want it banned, they've never come forward or shown their displeasure. So I can honestly say the sports has been way better without it.
So hold on, how do you know they haven't shown their displeasure? Because there was a noose found in your garage back in 2020. Was that before or after?
Oh, my God.
Well, it's all. I think we're all human enough to, if in out of the driver's world, if you have a problem with it, you just kind of keep it to yourself and move on. And I'm not treated differently, or I don't speak to said drivers, but I haven't had any instances where the drivers have come at me for removing the Confederate flag. It's been. Everybody's been in support of it, and we've moved on. So it is what it is.
Did they ever get to the bottom of the news thing and find out who did it or no?
Yeah, it was there before we got there, years before we got there, and it's just coincidence that I had that garage.
Damn.
So like
They
it's
knew
wild.
you was coming.
It's wild.
Wow.
So it is still a topic of discussion to this day. It's wild. You should see my Twitter mentions. Like Bubba finished third. What was their news? It's wild that is still going about it. And but no, it was there before we even got there, and just the 1 in a million quadrillion coincidences that I had that garage stall. And in fact, it was tied in a fashion like that. It could have been this small. It doesn't matter. And so it is what it is, and we've moved on from it. And it sucks that the sport was put in that situation, that I was put in that situation, our team was put in that situation. But we've learned a lot about who we are as a sport and who we are as competitors, and that's all you can ask for.
Did it take a toll on you emotionally?
Oh, those year or two after that was rough, because I went from being one of the most, I wouldn't say the most liked drivers, but favorable drivers, but now it's just been the boos and stuff, and that's okay, because it's sports, and I'm a big, I love going to college football games, Tennessee, and college basketball games, and I'm not a person that boos other teams, because I'm kind of in the sports world myself, and it just kind of seems childish, but fans do what they want. So booing is a part of sports in general. But it was, the next week after Talladega, it was like a light switch, and it was like, whoa,
Wow.
we're, like, holy shit, I didn't ask for this. And so now they're making noise. I've always been told, and I've read things, is when they stop making noise is when it's worse. So
Yeah. You still do you get scared when you get in that car? You get fear at all?
No fear.
I'd be afraid for you.
Well, I appreciate that. Do you drive fast on the roads?
Hell no.
Not
That's why I'd be
anymore.
afraid for you.
When
Not
I was
anymore?
When I was younger, I was one of them stupid kids that was flying in and out of traffic. I think we all were at one time.
Right. And so, you climb in and you just do it.
Right.
And that's that for us. If you have the fear, that is seconds that you're giving up. And I mean, we're talking about fighting for thousandths of an inch. Giving up seconds for just being scared, can't have it.
I hate people who speed. Whenever I get in a car with somebody who speed, I'd be like, "Are you in a rush to die?" Like,
It is
slow down.
annoying.
But I mean, it's your job. I understand.
Yeah, but on the roads it's different because people's lives are at stake and the safety. And I've always said, I don't speed on the roads because the safety of my race car is way higher than a street car. Right? I have a 9 to 12 point harness, whatever it is, and we got one seatbelt in a car, and that's it. So I can take multiple wrecks on Sundays going 180, 200 miles an hour versus a 90 mile per hour wreck here, and it's over. So
I ain't gonna lie, but if I do see you on the road, I gotta try you one time. I mean,
See,
that's
look
Bubba
at
Wallace,
you.
and I gotta, I'm gonna be like, what I mean?
Yeah, he just said he was a stupid kid.
know.
Now he's a
Right,
stupid adult.
exactly.
He wants to
Exactly.
see you.
That's fine.
Yo, Bubba, you soft, son, but I got it one time.
Why
Everybody
do you
needs to be
encourage people
humbled.
to do the dumbest things?
Everybody needs to be humbled. So that's fine. You can take that. You can take that.
And Steve, shout out to Robinhood. Y'all made investments for financial literacy programs at Howard, right?
Yes.
HBCUs.
Are y'all going to do that at other
Awesome.
HBCUs too?
TCU, yeah, we're
Okay.
12 universities and expanding. Yeah,
That's dope.
Wow.
all across the country.
Very cool.
Yep.
Why is that important for Robinhood?
I think it's important because you want to make sure that people at a very young age start to understand how to do it responsibly and suitably. The younger, everything shows that if just the power of compounding alone, you start at a young age, you're gonna benefit at an older age. I'm one of those annoying fathers who has 3 20-some-year-old daughters, and I pound on them. You got to put that money to work. Put that money to work. Be invested in that. And I said, one day you'll thank me.
Well, we appreciate you guys for joining us. I know you
Absolutely.
guys-
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Good
guys.
luck with everything, Bubba and
Appreciate you,
Steve.
brother.
We
Thank you.
appreciate you for joining us. It's the
Thank you.
Breakfast Club. It's Bubba Wallace and Steve Quirk. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.